you can make bucks in South Africa the legal way.
Ethically.
Ethically.
Okay.
But yeah, there's just so much. I know a lot of investors, and especially overseas investors. If you're not in it, you don't know how it is. But it would be very difficult for someone like us to go and adapt in a different country. Let's say New Zealand, where there's all these rules, and you have to drive at 80 kilometers an hour, and you can't rush anything, and you can't make a lekker braaivleisvuur, simple stuff like a braaivleisvuur, simple stuff like that. It just gives you opportunity. South Africans love rugby, so utilize rugby. You're going to sell something that a rugby supporter likes, or sell something that there's so many braai shops popping up, and it's just now a new one that's opened up. A good friend of mine's opened up a braai shop in Alberton. There's always something. There's always something new, and South Africans are very creative. So we'll definitely create a need.
Unfiltered AF, real ones rise, no mask, no flex. Lights on, mic check is next. This is the truth, Unfiltered AF.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Unfiltered AF, where I've got the honor to have Charles Wright, a serial entrepreneur, with us today on Unfiltered. Charles, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So Charles, I've known you we met at church.
Yes.
So that was a couple of years ago. Like we
Close to 20
we didn't
years
have
ago?
grey hair.
Yeah, full hairlines.
Full
No
hairline,
grey.
no wrinkles.
No wrinkles.
Yeah, no stress. It's truly an honor to have you. So Charles, tell us, where did your passion for business start?
I think it started at a very early age. I had to hustle very hard to make things work. I was in hostel in standard 6, grade 8. There was no pocket money, so I had to go and buy Simba chips at the local macro, or there was a metro back in Young Kempdorp in the Northern Cape.
Yeah.
So I had a $50 on me, and I went and I bought Simba chips. It was basically R1 a packet, and I was selling them at R2.50. And that's how I made my pocket money.
150% profit.
150% profit. I wasn't good at maths, but at least I knew I was making a profit. So it started back then, and I think that's where the passion for business and making money came from. It was actually because of survival. I had to survive, and that it gave me a stepping stone to start something. Yeah.
And this started in primary school, you said? High school?
In high school, yes.
High school.
So I went to boarding school. I was in Koshuis.
Yeah.
And like I said, there was no pocket money available. My friends had lunch money and sweets and whatever, and I didn't have much. I had a $50 on me, and I had to make it work. And
you hustled.
And I hustled, and it grew and grew, and eventually, when I came to Joburg, obviously my passion was already there to do something different and sell and upsell. So yeah, it started at a very young age.
Okay, so did you differentiate between the kids who had pocket money and those who didn't? Did you start like a scheme there of pulling in those who needed cash, or was this you and you alone at that point in time?
I had a couple of people working under me as agents. I had started my own pyramid scheme, and I had a couple of agents working under me. Okay. I'm offsetting at R1.50 a packet, and they selling at R2.50, and everyone's making bucks, and I'm pushing the volumes. So yeah, and that's I ended up making 1,000, 2,000 rand a month, which was a lot for a kid.
Yeah.
That didn't get pocket money.
From $50.
From a $50, it started from a $50,
yes.
And the growth was just phenomenal.
And that transferred over to your young adult days, I would assume, through high school into your adult days. What was next? What happened next?
So I ended up coming to Joburg, Alberton, obviously. And I just finished matric, and I didn't have anything to do. My dad said, go get a job. You have to get your own place to stay now. You can't stay with us. So they kicked us out the same month that I finished the matric. It's basically in December. And we were basically on the street. So my brother and myself, we found a bachelor flat in Alberton North. Don't want to go too much into the details here, but it was scruffy. Nevertheless, so we got this place. He had a 3/4 size bed. We had to share this bed. We didn't have a lounge. We didn't have a lounge suite. We didn't have a TV. We had nothing. So we actually started a small landscaping business where we do landscaping and install instant lawn and irrigation systems. Whatever we could get, we just, obviously, someone asked you, hey, meneer, can you do this? Yes, obviously I can do it. And because we're a can man, you know.
Did you have Google in those days?
No, there was no Google, so we had to, we had a couple of good mentors and people that was willing to help because they saw the passion and that we were willing to do something. And it started from there, you know. I still remember my first lounge or seating that we had was actually the upside down case of quartz beers. So the cheapest option was to each go and buy a case of quartz, finish the quartz and turn it upside down, and that was our seating, you know.
Well, being creative, ne?
Yeah. The following week we did a job for a client and he had a TV that was standing in the garage and I made a deal with him. I did the job for him for free, but we got a TV.
You bought
know?
it.
And that's the way we grew. Back then I didn't have a vehicle or car. Within a year I actually bought my own first bakkie. Unfortunately there was no insurance on it, so it was stolen. So
borrowed.
It was borrowed,
Yes.
On a lifetime
On a permanent basis.
Permanent basis. So nevertheless, so we had a couple of big knocks back then. It was tough. It was not easy. A lot of people think you inherited bucks if you have a business. It's not like that. We really had humble beginnings, but the lucky thing is you can adapt in any environment. If that is the organic way that you grow a business. And that's exactly what happened in my case. And I'm very grateful for it.
So what I'm hearing, and there's a golden thread today with all our guests that we've had on Unfiltered today, is not one of our guests today borrowed money or had money to start a business. So there's this stigma that, and I speak to aspiring entrepreneurs on a daily basis. I need so much money to start a business and I can't start it because of I need this and I need that. What's your take on that, Charles?
Excuse the French, but it's a slapgat attitude. Unfortunately, our parents, the generation before us, they made us weak people because they gave us everything. They spoon-fed. I'm referring to us, but they like to, or they used to spoon feed us, and I see it also with the upcoming generation, and it's actually sad. So there is no excuse. People they tend to just make excuses, and it's just that's it. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough money. I don't have the right genes, I don't have the right upbringing, I don't have a cell phone, I don't have this, I don't have that. And then unfortunately a lot of these youngsters fall into bad traps where they get involved with drugs and selling drugs and selling stuff that's not supposed to be sellable.
Selling the wrong stuff.
The wrong stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of excuses out there, and I think actually it's just a slapgat attitude. It's a mindset. If you think you're not good enough, you're gonna not be good enough. Finish and clear.
But how do we change that, Charles?
Learn to say no, parents. Especially parents. Learn to say no.
So that's where it starts.
Starts with your upbringing. Starts with your parents. I remember back when I was still in primary school, things were tough with especially I'm using my case as a scenario. So I was staying with my mom in a hostel because we didn't have a place to stay.
Sure.
So we were sleeping in a hostel room with the other kids that was actually in a hostel. And I remember some nights my mom went to bed without eating.
Sure.
Because I had to be fed.
Yo.
And just then already I just decided we're not going to be poor. I'm not going to live my life as a below or lower class. You know, because I was bullied at school. Kids used to make fun out of me. Hey, jy's 'n arm gat, jy's 'n blou bout, jy's 'n blue gum. And you know what? I just decided, no, I'm not. I'm not. They cannot define who you are. People cannot define who you are. So the thing is with my mom, she always taught me, if you want something, work for it. Don't steal anything. If you come back home and you've got something in your pocket which does not belong to you, she would have asked me, hey, meneertjie, where did you get this? Nee, ma, I've wheeled and dealed and I sold this to get this and explained to her. And that way, I always knew that it's possible.
Yeah.
You know, because my mom obviously believed in me. I knew what she had to suffer and go through to make me into a better young adult. And yeah, so I think that's where the passion started.
Okay.
No, I don't want to go too much off the question, but it's a wider explanation.
It's actually a full day conversation.
It is, yeah. We can have a very long debate about this.
Over a braai.
A couple of braais, and we won't make a 4, we'll make a 5, because a 4 is too small for this conversation.
But talking about braai, I know in your stable of businesses, there's something about braai huis or something like that.
Yeah, so I've got a restaurant. It's called Grondpad Braaihuis. I recently won an episode of Kom Ons Braai on via TV.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So yeah, the passion for cooking is definitely there, and that was the main inspiration for me starting the restaurant, and it's actually very successful. Okay. It's currently in Centurion, and I would love to actually open up one in Alberton. Okay. I don't want to go too much into the details, but there's definitely something cooking.
No pun intended,
No
right?
pun intended at all.
So, but interestingly enough, you call it Grondpad Braaihuis. Now, Grondpad is a brand in itself. With you guys launching one of your many businesses, and this business was launched in COVID, just before COVID.
Just before COVID, 2019.
2019, and please tell our viewers what this business is.
So the initial business was Grondpad Valleys. So Grondpad Valleys, we've got a local produced veldskoen factory, and we've got a retail shop. So we manufacture our own leather goods, dominantly Valleys, roughly 1,000 pairs per month now. Then we've got a clothing brand which is also associated to Grondpad Valleys. And then it just evolved. Then we started the lifestyle brand, which is more than just clothing and textile and whatever. So it's anything, whatever you think you can brand, it's branded, and it's got Grondpad on it. Corporate gifting type of vibe. Then 3 years ago, we actually started the restaurant group. So this is not the first one. We've done a couple and we failed, and we tried again.
Okay.
And this time around, I think we're doing quite all right.
Okay. So learn a couple of lessons.
Yeah, it's not everything I've touched was turned into gold. It's, you have to take at least 3 knocks and then you get one that works.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not easy, but it's working.
So you took 3 knocks.
Plus that.
At 15%.
At 15%, yeah.
Now, awesome, shoulders. I think that's so inspirational in itself. But Grondpad's not your only brand. So if we look at your clothing and lifestyle brand and your food and beverage brand, what else? What other surprises do you have in this lucky packet?
So part of the first business we started, the Wright brothers, there was the landscaping and irrigation. And then we went into construction.
Okay.
Yeah, so I actually did my courses, and I'm a qualified NHBRC qualified builder.
Oh, wow.
So we do quite a lot of construction. Okay. We had a couple of good contracts with OK Foods, FNB, Capitec, and then also the normal consumers, like normal households that we do work for, and it's actually going very well.
Okay, so you construct and you remodel and all of the above.
We do full turnkey projects,
Okay.
From foundation to rooftop. We do a lot of pools and pool renovations, electrical and plumbing installations as well. So there's basically nothing in the construction industry that we do not do.
Okay, so you name it. Like if it stands still, you brand it, and you name it, you build it.
Yes, exactly. Thanks. That's a nice new slogan. Eh?
Okay, great. I'll take royalties on that. Okay. So, Charles, just hearing from what you say today, that you've had this acumen since you were in high school, and once again, a golden thread with most of our visitors and guests today is that's how they started their businesses. Our one guest started wheeling and dealing with marbles, albasters, because this one wanted that one, so he started dealing that, and he made a whole boatload of marbles, or selling 300 packets of sherbet a day.
It was not maybe 6 red marbles.
No,
I'm just asking,
let's not name
Norman's a
drop now.
friend.
A couple of lost marbles as well.
I've heard a story quite similar.
So, but what is next? Obviously, you're building this empire. You're building businesses across Alberton, across Gauteng, across the country, because Grondpad, your Felly's business, is a national, how can we put it, a national hero, loved by thousands. But what is next? What's happening next year without obviously giving away too much?
You know what? I never push anything. I get a vision and then I start working on it and I drive it. Currently, it's obviously the restaurant group. We've actually tried the franchise with Grondpad Valleys, especially. At a stage, it did very well. But I think with the unstable economy that we currently in, I don't wanna grow too fast. I wanna still stay organic, make sure everything grows slowly. So I would say in the next 5 years from now, I wanna at least have 10 to 20 franchises. And in the restaurant group, I wanna at least sit on 5 nice big proper restaurants. The next one will obviously I would wanna do the Cape Town branch.
Okay.
Which I've been looking at, and I need to actually fly down sometime soon to go and see a couple of premises that we've identified. So yeah, that is. But I don't wanna go too much into it, and I wanna obviously keep my cards close to my chest. You know.
Obviously, I'm trying. I need to ask. So the reason for my ask is, what's also important with entrepreneurship and business is that one can't stagnate, and by stagnating, you do the same thing every day. And most entrepreneurs, interestingly enough, most entrepreneurs do have a form of ADHD. And according to statistics, that's why they're successful. Because not that they get bored with what they're doing, but I can do this now, so what is next? What is the next step? What's going to stimulate you again? Because you've got this business up and running, you've got key individuals in it to keep it afloat, to manage it and what have you. But then what is next for you? So that is inspirational in the essence of it. But tell me quickly, we also deal with, you mentioned people want to start business making excuse, they slap gat and all of that. But what advice do you have for business owners who currently find themselves at a crossroad where they're despondent, the economy is challenging, or they've lost interest in their business? What advice do you have for them to get out of that rut?
Look, normally it's good to get an outsider, someone that you trust, that can just give you some outside perspective of your business or into your business. I've seen many times in my business businesses as well, that I get to a stage where I start stagnating and I feel something's not happening. Then you just take a couple of days, take a week sabbatical, sit back, go on a holiday, switch your phone off for a while and just reinvent some things. Look at needs, create new needs. Creating a need for someone. Look at markets where you can penetrate and start something new, start something fresh. I've recently, I don't want to also give too much info, but I've recently picked up, there's a big market in the lower income bracket where there's millions of people that will be able to spend $5 Rand with you. So we tend to target the high-end clients, but they spoiled for choice. So instead of targeting the high-end people, that's very difficult to please anyway. Rather go and focus on the volumes, if that does make sense.
On the masses.
Go for the masses. That is the one thing. And yes, ADHD is a problem. I call it a superpower. My wife's not so happy with me having ADHD, but...
do you have ADHD?
I know. It doesn't
know
make
it.
sense, eh?
No, it doesn't.
Yes. So yeah, no, ADHD, most successful people that I follow are not the most educated and doesn't have the biggest degrees, biggest diplomas and whatever. They definitely have ADHD because you can't diversify properly if you don't have ADHD. You master something and then you get bored and then you need to move on.
But then you empower and move on.
That comes with experience.
Yeah.
So for many years, I had to build this experience by understanding, get someone in place, put key individuals in place, and then move on. I fell into this trap many times where I built something big. I don't want to say an empire, but you build something big, but you get so bored with it. You actually just leave it one side and hope it's going to grow by its own, like a plant. If you don't keep on watering it and looking after it, it's not going to grow.
Or appointing someone to water it.
Yes, well, then you must make sure they're actually doing it. So
Yeah.
you have to start micromanaging. And it's also not good for business if you have to start micromanaging. You know, if you keep on micromanaging, you the magic in the business, then you're not making money. As soon as you can stand back, let's say you go for a sabbatical for a month, on a sabbatical for a month, and the business is still in the position where it was when you left for the sabbatical, then you're okay. Then you're not just self-employed, because a lot of people think they business owners, but if you keep on doing the magic in the business, you're not a business owner. That's how I see it, my point of view.
Awesome. So, Charles, at the end of the day, do you think South Africa is still a good place to run business, to do business, to build business?
Yes. South
Why?
Africa, the dynamics and the Rainbow Nation, there's so much opportunity when it comes to business in South Africa because there's so many loopholes. We are not governed by all the rules and laws. Look, there's a lot of corruption. I don't want to go into politics too much, but the reason there's so much corruption is the reason we are still surviving. Because there's always new ways of making money and finding systems that works and finding systems with loopholes in it. And you can make bucks in South Africa the legal way.
Ethically.
Ethically.
Okay.
But yeah, there's just so much. I know a lot of investors, and especially overseas investors. If you're not in it, you don't know how it is. But it would be very difficult for someone like us to go and adapt in a different country. Let's say New Zealand, where there's all these rules, and you have to drive at 80 kilometers an hour, and you can't rush anything, and you can't make a lekker braaivleisvuur, you know, simple stuff like a braaivleisvuur, yeah.
Yes.
Simple stuff like that. It just gives you opportunity. South Africans love rugby, so utilize rugby. You're going to sell something that a rugby supporter likes, or sell something that there's so many braai shops popping up, and it's just now a new one that's opened up. A good friend of mine's opened up a braai shop in Alberton. There's always something. You know, there's always something new, and South Africans are very creative. So we'll definitely create a need.
So every business owner that I've met and know started with something creative, a creative thought, some inspiration of some sorts. And out of that, a business was born. Same with you. You had to be creative when you were in hostel in high school because you had to survive. You had to earn an income to help your family as well. So the reality is you were pushed towards that. One last word of advice that you can give our viewers on Unfiltered today before we sign off. What would that be to somebody who wants to start a business today? Those who are not slapgat, who doesn't want to start it, but I don't know how to put that. They want to start, but they don't want to really start it because it seems like effort. But those who really want to start it, those who are passionate, what word of advice can you give to them?
Well, first of all, if you make it big, or if you think you make it big, the main key is to stay humble, and then you'll always stay blessed. That is my motto, and it's been my motto for many years. And then lastly is, if you are willing to do what others don't, you will definitely have what others don't. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to grind. Sometimes you have to do the stuff that's not lekker to do, the stuff that it's difficult to do. The difficult stuff is what makes it work. If you're willing to take the extra step and go the extra mile and work a little bit harder, you'll never be the best in what you do, but just make sure that no one else can outwork you. That's about it.
And then be teachable and constant learning.
Yeah, that's where the humble part comes in. A lot of people think, I've made it and I'm not going to listen and take any advice. Take advice. You don't have to use it, but listen. You know, you get advice from a car guard. You get advice from a person that's already retired, your grandmother, your grandfather. Listen to the advice, take the advice and use it, don't use it. But never look down on anyone, especially when it comes to business. The people that's not successful as you or as much as you also has some input in what the market needs.
They can just spark that new idea, something, oh wow, there's a need in the market, there's a gap, because you need to listen to your audience as well. And you are now talking about an audience. At the end of the day, if you sell a product, you sell a service, you need to listen what your audience wants,
Yes.
what your customer wants, and address that need,
Yes.
like you're working on now, currently.
Exactly, yeah.
So, Charles, thank you so much. It's really been inspiring having you here. And where can people get hold of you or your team? Is there a general contact point where our audience can get hold of you for your services, for your products, or maybe just to have a chat?
Yeah. So we've got a very easy cell phone number that you can get a hold of me on. It is 0835423542. So that's our number. And our website, you can go on to rightbros.co.za or grondpadvalleys.co.za. And then we've got the new domain, grondpad.com.
Charles, once again, thank you so much. Truly an honor having you here today. And we're excited to see what the future holds. And I'm going to be watching with a close eye what's happening in 2026, as it seems like you've got big plans.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you, Charles. So that was another exciting episode of Unfiltered AF with serial entrepreneur Charles Wright, visiting us today and sharing his wisdom from starting humble beginnings when he was in high school, having to hustle, make a plan for income, but that sparked his interest for business. Now, if you are interested in building a business, these stories really help inspire us on that we can start building a business. We don't even need money or funds or whatever to start a business, but stories like these just inspire us and tell us that it is always possible. Where there's a will, there's a way. To see more inspirational stories like these on Unfiltered, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to all our channels, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and so forth, to stay up to date with the latest episodes and the latest stories. See you next time. Have a good one. Cheers.
Unfiltered AF, real ones rise, no mask, no flex. Lights on, mic check is next. This is the truth, Unfiltered AF.